great to be here. Thanks, Mark. This conversation is a little bit, I think, about the partnership and where we started between Dine and Flybuy, and ultimately how that's evolved over the years, and what Flybuy is doing to really improve convenience for all brands, but also for brands in our segment. So Dine is the parent of Applebee's and IHOP. We're full-service restaurant locations, about 3,500 locations globally. And for Applebee specifically, we started doing Carside, which is where you drive up to an Applebee's, you wait in your car, and then somebody comes out with the food. We started with Carside, in 2004, so almost 20 years ago at this point. We're one of the first in the category to do it. In 2019, we started to think about, okay, how do we make this even more convenient experience? Because I was personally having an experience where I would drive to Applebee's, I would sit in the car, and I wouldn't know what was happening. And I'd be sitting there, not for the 2 minutes, which was our SOP, but I'd be sitting there for 5 minutes or 10 minutes and not knowing how and when my food would be coming. And I encourage everybody in the room to go through their own experiences with their own to-go platforms to think through, okay, is this what's really happening for us? So around 2019, we just wanted to get the data to validate that this was an issue or not, because we had done some research that said that there's really two things that matter to a consumer in a to-go experience. One is order accuracy. Okay, is everything that I said that I told the restaurant I wanted in that bag? The second is speed of service and ability to get in and out quickly. And we weren't sure, so we embedded some technology into our app to determine, okay, how long are people really waiting in our parking lots? And the numbers were kind of eye-opening to us, because it was not, again, what our SOP numbers were stated to be. They were much longer, and there was a lot of variability within the system. And so that's where the opportunity with Flybuy came. And Mark will tell you more about how Flybuy works, but now it's a technology that's embedded in both our app as well as our mobile web orders, as well as delivery across our whole fleet in the US. And Mark will tell you more.
Great, thanks. So for those who don't know who Radius Networks is the company. I founded it about 10 years ago. I was a technologist, engineer, and then I became a restaurant owner. I started a restaurant in the Mid-Atlantic, was running that for a couple of years, and realized there were some operational challenges, some customer experience challenges that we could solve with mobile phone and mobile locations. So we created Radius Networks. We serve grocery, retail, hospitality, and restaurants, of course, and the platform name is Flybuy. We're at about 30,000 plus locations, 50 countries now, and doing tens of millions of trips, unique trips a month, all really using mobile location to drive and power the platform. And Flybuy, the platform, it's kind of use 365 for finance or Salesforce for CRM. We really see ourselves as the air traffic controller or the platform for operations. And we're trying to connect all the different players in the system, customers, staff, delivery drivers, back of the house, marketing, corporate, BI folks together, and then also the tech stack and trying to use integrations to glue all that together to really optimize, again, the customer experience, staff experience, delivery driver experience, and also to make operations more efficient. So with Dine Brands, we started the project, of course, in the pandemic when everything shut down inside, and we had launched Flybuy Pickup in 2019. It's a good year to launch a product like that because in 2020 everybody needed it to really service the off-premise surge for pickup, both in-store and curbside, and contactless pickup as well. So we launched that with both brands. And rolled it out, and then we're going to show you a little more detail about what we're doing with a video now. So you guys can play the video.
Applebee's Carside to go through Flybuy is really important at this point. The benefits to a location-based curbside solution are a completely frictionless customer experience for the Applebee's customer. It allows the team member inside of the store to be proactive instead of reactive, which really cuts down on customer wait time, but also increases team member efficiency.
Our new improved Carside program with Flybuy allows us to prioritize as we make the guest food and know where they are along their journey to the restaurant. As soon as the guest pulls up, we're able to greet them at the car immediately and have the food ready for them.
Our managers feel like the benefit is that they are able to see the entire guest experience on the way to the restaurant. It enables us to know exactly when the guest is arriving, and literally we are able to meet them in the parking lot as they pull up.
I found it incredibly easy to implement Flybuy. Our team members found the tool incredibly intuitive and easy to adapt to. Within just a few shifts, it was just as if Flybuy had been there forever.
Each of the brands that we work with have different technologies and different ways of operating their business. We need to make sure that we can adapt to all of those different challenges that they have and make sure that Flybuy is evolving with it.
The number one way that Flybuy has improved our business is that it has enriched the guest experience. We're able to get to that guest faster, immediately upon their arrival, and ensure they have a great experience, allowing them to take care of a guest in a more efficient manner.
So one of the key comments there was being proactive instead of reactive, which is really one of the big problems we were trying to solve. People would arrive, staff wouldn't know they were there. The kitchen was making orders in a first in, first out method. First people that ordered were the first people that got made. Sometimes those orders were sitting around for a long time. We wanted to make it more of a first arrive, first out model where we would notify the kitchen, or even the kitchen wouldn't even know about the order until that guest was close by. So now we could make things in a much more efficient way, and then also when the customer arrives, we could actually tell the staff exactly where they were parked, or if they were coming in the store, and then also message the customer so they knew where to go. We also can message the customer if they're going to the wrong store. Say, hey, you're going to the wrong place. You need to go to this other location, because that happens quite a bit in the restaurant industry. So those are the problems we were trying to solve, and then once we actually implemented the program, we were able to see a lot of benefits. I don't know if you want to talk a little bit more about these.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, what we were trying to solve for is wait time. That was a big piece of it. And so what I'm pleased to see is that our wait times have diminished or decreased significantly, because now we have the information and the data for our managers and our team members to actually monitor and track. So before, when there was no data there to understand what our wait time really was, nobody really looked at it or held themselves accountable. Now we have data, so they're able to manage down those numbers. And what's very encouraging is now our wait times are highly competitive with what we see in QSR. And that's what we're trying to do, is be in the consideration set with a quick service drive-through restaurant. Because now you can come into an Applebee's or an IHOP and within 3 minutes be in and out of there, which is I think, a great value proposition. The other piece from like a restaurant design standpoint is that we've got a kind of a big bottleneck within our parking spots and our parking lots. So when we designed curbside, 20 years ago, 3 parking spots is what we would put out there, because delivery was under 10% of our mix. Now to go is now 25% of our mix. You need more parking spots. We now have parking spots that have been reserved with kind of temporary signs that are further out in the lot. Team members don't know where those people are. We want to turn those spots over as quickly as possible. Second, they're able to geolocate down to the parking spot level. So we don't have team members now who are searching around for the car that might be around the corner. They know exactly where to take the food. So there's a lot of benefits to this technology that have allowed us to overcome, I think, some of the shortcomings of the prototype.
Yeah, exactly. And when people have a great experience, they'll come back, and they'll use these digital channels, following on the last presentation, and spend more money. So then versus walking up and talking to a human and ordering. If you use a mobile ordering, you'll order more by dollar value typically than if you were using the other channels. In addition to customers, we're now working with both IHOP and Applebee's we're directly integrated with Uber and DoorDash and some others to actually get delivery driver location, because just like customers, they're concerned about their wait, so they can get that order, that handoff, and be on the way, get the customer so they're not waiting around wondering where their food is, get it nice, hot, and fresh to them, do another delivery, and then ultimately boost customer satisfaction, improve handoff time, but for the restaurants, ultimately reduce the fees that they pay to the delivery providers because of the reduced wait time. And as a side effect, what we've seen in we've been testing this for a year, when customers actually have faster delivery through one of the DSP providers, they're going to go back and order more through that channel. and we see an uplift in sales too. So it's an additional benefit we get. And then also virtual brands. I don't know if you want to talk about, but we've launched that as well. We're launching that as well with both IHOP and Applebee's for the virtual brands.
Yeah, we've got virtual brands. For those that operate virtual brands, we've got 3 across the 2 brands. But ultimately, this is about getting as many orders into the funnel of the Flybuy software for us. So it didn't really make sense for us to just have, you know, only our app orders in Flybuy, because that's a very small percentage of our business. And then you put in all of your mobile web or all of your to-go orders, and then that's another segment. So now we've got virtual brands, that gets a larger percentage of orders in. We're going to figure out ways to get a higher percentage in over time, maybe even including our dine-in business. Flybuy's been a good partner in terms of integrating in new channels. We've got lockers that we're testing. These are self-service lockers, thinking about, okay, how would Flybuy technology then integrate into a self-service food locker? So at the end of the day, it's all about how do we get as many of our off-premise orders into the Flybuy network.
And then just, you know, a lot of the stores leverage our dashboard. It makes a lot of noise, and it flashes when customers arrive. It flashes red when they've been waiting too long. It has tags. We didn't really talk about the tags to make sure items that are commonly forgotten, like drinks, are not forgotten. And so we see a huge reduction in missed components to orders. And we're going to get to some stats in a second on that. But integrations with things like the POS to allow people to access the system from different, we've done a POS integration with the Dine team. We're looking at other integrations to do, you know, more intelligent order firing, mobile order ahead pickup in the dining room, that kind of stuff. So integrations are very important. And now, you know, last 2 slides are really kind of more on the stats and success side. I don't know, Scott, if you want to mention some of the...
No, again, you know, it's rolled out throughout our system. Team members think it helps them with their job, which is critically important right now in this tight labor market, to find tools that make the job a little bit easier. So this is part of that. The DoorDash and Uber Eats integrations, and then hopefully some more integrations with other delivery service providers over time, is incredibly important. Again, you know, driver wait time is directly tied to the cost of your commission. So, because if you think about the P&L of a delivery service provider, you know, that driver labor cost is the highest piece of it. If they can get higher efficiency with their driver fleet, they can get more orders per hour, then it brings down the cost, and that theoretically gets passed on to the restaurant. So, and it's also a better experience for the guests. They're not waiting for their food as long. So we think that's incredibly important. It was one of the big pieces that we decided to go with Flybuy, was that they had the ability to do these integrations. Yeah, and overall, we think it's over time going to help with frequency. Again, if you can have a great in and out experience, I can be in and out of an Applebee's or IHOP parking lot within 2 or 3 minutes, I'm more likely to come back in the future. And we know that when you're waiting for 10 minutes, it's not a great experience. You're probably going to go to the restaurant down the street. So that's ultimately what this is hopefully feeding over time.
Right. And repeat, you know, happy customers and repeat visitors means, you know, better top line. But what we found with the IHOP brand, a group that we're deployed throughout all IHOPs, but one of the groups with 104 locations, the Romulus Restaurant Group, has seen some very significant stats on the bottom line too. A lot of that's attributed to the tagging that we talked about, so they're not forgetting items. Knowing that people have arrived, it's not just about mobile location. I mean, there's a lot of that going on in the platform, but it's also communication. You know, making sure that messaging is going back to the staff, messaging is going to the customer. Hey, I see you're here. Hang out. We're on our way. You know, they don't have to panic or come into the store. And so what that means is they just have a better experience, and they don't get frustrated and leave and do a chargeback or a refund. And so we saw a pretty profound reduction in wasted orders that have been sitting around too long, refunds and chargebacks. And, you know, the system really pays for itself. And then you get the checkbox of the sustainability aspect too, where, you know, I'm not wasting as much food as I have. I'm not, you know, idling cars aren't sitting around as long as they used to be. So we've seen some great results. You know, the program's been in place for 3 years now. So, you know, we're getting some really good data and trying to evolve evolve the program to more channels.
Yeah, I mean, cold food is the number one complaint we've always gotten for in to-go for years and years and years. And so this is, if your team is able to then operationalize and knowing from a geolocation perspective, the customer is this far away, I can now make the food at a more optimal time. So we haven't fully integrated it into our KDS in order to fully flesh that out, but for those that have the flexibility to look at this system and understand, okay, when should I fire the food in an optimal way, it does drive down those complaints.
Yeah. We are out of time, so I think we're done.
Happy to chat more offline. Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thanks a lot, everybody.
Thank you so much.